Sitting alone in a vacant house at 38 weeks pregnant, I watched as my husband prepared for a GU trip to Las Vegas. His suitcase lay open on our bed, the bed we shared, while I stood in the doorway, hand on my swollen belly, trying to hold back tears he must not see. 22 you'll be okay, 22 Tom said, casually throwing in another shirt. 22 your due date isn't for another 2 weeks. His glance, accompanied by that familiar half-smile which once made my heart flutter, now made my stomach churn. He added, 22 besides, you can always drive yourself to the hospital if necessary. 22 his words, marked by a cool indifference, hung painfully in the air between us. I felt our baby kick, sensing my unease. 7 years of marriage had led to this, standing alone while Tom chose friends over family once more. 22 what if something goes wrong? 22 I asked, my voice small. 22 nothing's going to go wrong, Olivia. 22 he cut in, sealing his suitcase with finality. 22 you being dramatic as usual. It's my last chance to have fun before the baby arrives, and everything changes. 22 those words hit hard, suggesting our child was a burden, an end to his freedom rather than a beautiful beginning together, as I had imagined. I watched him walk out with his weekend bag and the remnants of my illusions about our marriage. The house felt vast and empty, echoing with unsaid things. I sat heavily on the bed, hand resting protectively on my belly. For the first time, I saw Tom for who he was, the subtle dismissals of my feelings, the eye rolls at my concerns, planning without me. I had ignored these signs, made excuses, attributing it to his way. Now, as our child was about to enter the world, the weight of his emotional absence crushed me. My phone buzzed, a message from my sister Emma asking, 22, everything okay? 22 those 2 words cracked something within me. Was everything ever okay? Lying alone that night in the large bed, I felt the baby move strongly within me. With both hands on my belly, I whispered, 22 we deserve better, little one. We both do. 22 those words would become my mantra, giving me strength and courage when I felt lost, eventually leading me to the hardest and best decision of my life. But first, I had to survive the weekend. As I drifted to sleep, Tom posted pictures from the airport with friends, all smiles and beers. I laid the phone face down, ignoring the pressure in my back building for the last hour. It wasn't until the first real contraction that I realized the weekend might not unfold as Tom had predicted. The contractions began subtly like a distant storm, gradually intensifying. By midnight, denial was futile. Sitting on the bathtub's edge, timing contractions with my app, they intensified from 20 to 15, then 12 minutes apart. Calling Tom thrice, each went to voicemail. I left a trembling yet controlled message. 22 I am in labor. Please call back. 22 my sister Emma answered on the first ring. 22 the baby's coming. 22 I managed to say between breaths. 22 Tom's in Vegas and I. 22 a contraction cut my words short, stronger than before. 22 I am coming now. 22 Emma said, firm and steady. 22 don't move. Have you called the doctor? Dr. Patterson was on call at the hospital, advising to come when contractions quickened as first babies usually take time. I packed my hospital bag, realizing Tom had never asked what I planned to bring. Each item felt like a statement. The soft gown, lavender lotion for relaxation, the tiny onesie for Mom. I was creating a separate space for the baby and me. Emma arrived fast, flushed from rushing, pulling me into an embrace I didn't know I needed until then, breaking down in her arms. 22, he just left. 22 I sobbed. 22 he knew this could happen. 22 Emma, hands on my shoulders with fierce eyes, told me, 22 you matter. This baby matters and need you strong. We'll deal with Tom later. 22 my phone lit up, showing a text, a group photo from Tom at a club with drinks, his arm around an unknown blonde. The caption read, 22 Vegas baby, best weekend ever. 22 I stared until a contraction made me gasp. Emma took my phone, switching it off without a word. 22 we re-handling this. 22 she assured, helping me manage the pain. 22 No negativity needed. 22 Driving to the hospital felt surreal on nearly empty streets, streetlights casting long shadows. Each contraction was a demanding wave. Emma held one hand on the wheel, the other with mine, anchoring through the storm. At the hospital, staff awaited us. A nurse, Maria, helped me into a wheelchair, her kindness bringing more tears. "First baby?" she asked gently. I nodded, adding, 22 husbands away. 22 Maria shared a glance with Emma, and unspoken understanding passed between them. 22 You've got a great team here, 22 Maria assured, settling me in. The labor and delivery room, despite preparations, was both clinical and comforting. Emma helped change into the gown as Maria set up monitors, my baby's heartbeat filling the room, strong, steady, determined. 22 Your little one's doing great, 22 Maria said. 22, and you're already 5 centimeters dilated. 22 The words 22 all by yourself 22 echoed, but not truly. I had Emma, my doctor, the kind nurse, and most importantly, myself and my baby teaching me strength and perseverance. As night deepened, labor intensified, thoughts of Tom faded, with focus shifting to future changes. At dawn, Dr. Patterson rechecked. 22 Nearly there, Olivia. 22 I held Emma's hand tighter, another contraction peaking as the sky turned colors, a reminder that even long nights end. The phone, now forgotten in the hospital bag, remained off. Meanwhile, in Vegas, Tom likely eased into slumber, unaware of his child approaching the world. Fully dilated and told to push by Dr. Patterson's voice. My surroundings glowed in the morning sun. After 12-hour labor, contractions brought me to this pivotal moment. Emma's unwavering presence contrasted sharply with Tom's absence. Fear gripped me, whispering, 22, I am not strong enough. Emma's reassuring grip and words, 22 You've already proven your strength, 22 encouraged me. A primal urge to push built with the next contraction. Fueled by frustration, fear, and determination long held inside. Encouraging words from Dr. Patterson, 22 That's it, Olivia. Between pushes, Tom slipped into mind, likely waking in his hotel, oblivious to his child's arrival. Failing to call him again, Emma showed his social media, captioned, What happens in Vegas? Obligated, I focused on breathing and the monitor's steady beeping. Emma remained my constant, an anchor, through this transformative journey of birth and awakening. The seconds were counting down, and the pressure became almost excruciating as Dr. Patterson announced that the baby's head was crowning. One more big push, Olivia, she encouraged. With a burst of energy I wasn't aware I had, I gave it one last push. The pressure peaked and then immediately subsided, followed by the strong, defiant cry of a new life. It's a girl, Dr. Patterson exclaimed proudly as she placed my baby on my chest. My daughter was perfect. The room seemed to shrink around me, focusing on this singular moment, my daughter's warm body against my skin, her tiny fingers curling, and her eyes trying to focus on me. She had a thick set of dark hair, my nose, and what appeared to be Tom's chin. But as I looked at her, I noticed something purely unique, a fierce independence already visible in how she held her head and the power of her cry. Hello, little one, I whispered tearfully, feeling tears roll down my cheeks. I'm your mama. Emma, too, was crying, her phone lying forgotten in her hand as she leaned in to catch a glimpse of her niece. She's beautiful, Olivia. Absolutely beautiful. The next hour was a blur of medical procedures and early milestones. I named my little girl Lily, who weighed in at 7 pounds 6 ounces, perfectly healthy, as measured by the medical staff. I delivered the placenta and was cleaned up, then guided to nurse Lily for the first time. Through it all, my phone was silent, no texts, no calls from Tom. It wasn't until later, when Lily was sleeping peacefully in the bassinet beside my bed and Emma had stepped out to notify our parents, that I turned my phone back on. Notifications flooded in, missed calls from friends, congratulatory messages from coworkers, all informed by Emma. And finally, A single text from Tom arrived only 30 minutes ago. Flight delayed. Vegas has been crazy. We'll be back tonight instead of this afternoon. Hope all's well there. Reading it, a calmness washed over me. In those few nonchalant words, Tom had revealed everything about his priorities, his personality, and what awaited us if I stayed. Lily stirred softly, making those tender newborn sounds that already tugged at my heart. I reached out, stroking her cheek, marveling at her perfect features and innocent demeanor. In that moment, I made a promise to her and to myself. We deserve better, I repeated, a commitment made earlier that felt like a lifetime ago. This time they weren't just words, they were a declaration of independence. I picked up my phone and texted Emma. When you return, we need to talk. I know what I have to do. As I sent it, Lily looked at me, her gaze surprisingly intent for a newborn. Right then, I felt stronger than ever before. The journey ahead would be challenging, but I was no longer afraid. I had managed to bring a new life into this world on my own. Surely, I could build a new life for us, too. The sun now hung high in the sky, illuminating the room with warmth. In a few hours, Tom would land, check his messages, and note the significant elements he missed. However, by that time, changes would already be underway, for while he was living it up in Vegas, I had gained something far more important: clarity, courage, and the unwavering belief that my daughter needed to see her mother as strong, respected, and valued. Grasping my phone again, I accessed my banking app. Our joint account indicated several large withdrawals from the Bellagio casino. Steeling myself, I dialed the family lawyer's number listed under my contacts, always just in case. That when I first found independence, it was life-changing, something I'd never realized was missing until now. Emma insisted I stay with her while I regained my footing, and her spare room transformed into our refuge. It wasn't spacious, but sufficient for a bassinet, changing table, and essentials I had packed hastily when Tom was away at work the day I left the hospital. Most of my belongings were in storage, waiting for the day I secured my own space. That's not much, Tom commented as he discovered half the closet vacant, standing at our bedroom's threshold. Now his room, watching me zip my last bag. I only took what's mine, I stated, checking on Lily in her carrier, her peaceful slumber unbroken by the room's tension. All the baby's things are still in the nursery. Once the papers are signed, we can arrange a schedule, he mentioned, referring to his lawyer's ongoing negotiations over our separation. It was no longer a matter of winning, but moving forward. 3 weeks later, I was at a realtor's office with Lily resting on my chest. Emma was perusing listings on the agent's computer. Monica, the realtor, pointed to a 2-bedroom apartment in a still neighborhood. This fits your budget, she explained. First floor. You won't have to deal with stroller stairs. There's a nearby park, and it's within the school district you wanted. Pondering school seemed surreal but undeniably right. Every choice now was about laying a foundation for Lily's future. I want to see it, I decided as Lily stirred. Monica made a call as Emma browsed more apartment photos. It looks promising, Olivia. Plenty of natural light and a better kitchen than before. The apartment exceeded expectations. High ceilings made the modest area feel bigger, and a window seat in the second bedroom already called as Lily's future reading corner. The kitchen opened to a small dining area, and built-in living room shelves had me envisioning many bedtime stories. The landlord offers a 2-year lease, allowing painting if restored to neutral upon leaving, noted Monica as we toured. Standing in what could be Lily's room, I imagined soft yellows with gentle greens. This felt like home. I'll take it, I replied, surprised by my certainty. That evening, Emma and I, tea in hand, sat on the couch as Lily slumbered in her portable bassinet, and my phone buzzed with a text from Tom. Sign the papers today. Lawyer delivers them tomorrow. Can we discuss visitation? Showing Emma, she squeezed my hand. You've got this. I replied, thank you, yes. We can discuss visitation. I'm moving next week. Once finalized, we'll meet with the mediator. His response was swift. New place? Where? I inhaled deeply before continuing. Address will be shared after everything's set. We can plan supervised visits at my parents' for now. A lengthy pause ensued before he texted. Supervised? I'm her father, Olivia. You cannot keep me away. I replied, I'm not preventing you. It's about boundaries. We'll revisit the arrangement in a few months. Receiving no further reply, I checked on Lily as she stirred, anticipating her evening meal. I whispered, Tomorrow's a big day. Little one foot as I rocked her gently in the chair Emma gifted us. Shopping for your new room. The forthcoming days were occupied with preparations. My parents assisted with the apartment's security deposit, ignoring my protest. Consider it an investment in our granddaughter's future, my father decreed. Emma dedicated time off work to help paint and move in. A soft buttercream adorned the living room with gentle greens I'd envisioned for Lily's room. Each brushstroke, unpacked box, and arranged furniture piece shaped our new home. Our first night was eerily liberating following Emma's departure. After Lily was fed, changed, and asleep in her crib, a gift from my parents, I stood in the living room, inhaling deeply. This space, smaller than the house shared with Tom, felt expansive without tension. The constant presence requiring walking on eggshells, or another's mood dictating household atmosphere gone. Another buzz signaled a text from Tom. My lawyer says supervised visits aren't necessary. I want to see my daughter. Glancing at Lily on the baby monitor, I typed, We'll discuss with the mediator on Tuesday. Appointments set. Switching off my phone, I prepared chamomile tea, reclined on the new second-hand couch, and began reading a parenting book Emma gifted. Through the window, the adjacent park appeared as Monica had described, trees silhouetted against the dusk. In our quiet home, Lily's soft breathing through the monitor brought an unfamiliar peace. This wasn't a surface tranquility gained by dodging conflict, but genuine peace from realizing you're precisely where and doing what you should. A small cry emerged from Lily's room. She wasn't distressed, but signaling ready for her next feeding. Rising to attend, I glimpsed my reflection, noting a tired yet stronger, more confident woman than the one who months prior watched her husband pack for Vegas. That past version feared solitude. This one learned being alone trumped feeling lonely beside someone. The mediator's office was in a modern downtown building, painted in calming blue-gray hues. Arriving early with Lily resting soundly in her carrier, I studied my reflection in the elevator. My carefully chosen attire was a navy blazer over a simple dress, professional yet approachable. The reflected woman seemed capable, poised. Straightening my shoulders, I affirmed I was Olivia. Hello, Tom. I greeted neutrally as I signed in, noticing his exhaustion born of more than lack of sleep. Hi, Olivia, he answered, directing his gaze to Lily, who was starting to rouse. She's growing, Tom commented gently, inching closer. Babies tend to do that, I noted, adjusting Lily's blanket, a clear cue I was not ready for him to hold her. Soon, Dr. Rachel Trumbull, the mediator, welcomed us to her warm, professional office. Before beginning, Dr. Trumbull emphasized, our aim is fostering a healthy co-parenting dynamic serving your child's best interests. 2 hours of careful negotiation ensued. Tom aimed for immediate overnight visits, while I insisted on supervised daytime starts. Dr. Trumbull skillfully steered our dialogue, reaching middle ground. How about 3 weekly supervised visits to start, she proposed, 2 hours each at Olivia's parents'. If successful by month's end, discussions could extend durations. Moving to unsupervised options. I observed Tom's jaw clench at supervised, but he ultimately agreed. We meticulously documented every detail, schedules, expectations. Communication protocol, through a co-parenting app rather than direct texts or calls for clarity. I know how to care for my daughter, Tom insisted, striking a note of frustration. Are you aware of her nutrition routine, sleep pattern, her nursing preferences, or positions easing discomfort? I quietly queried, ascertaining whether he'd learned as much, despite his absence. What? During what? He retorted. Absent. I finished, voice firm yet kind. This isn't punishment, Tom. It's about trust, security, just as you must rebuild ours. Whether emboldened or abetted. Something in my steadiness registered with him. He sat back, no longer tense. What do I have to do? Concluding, we concretely planned. Tom attended a fathers-focused parenting class. Follow the supervised visitation plan without objection. All decisions undergo prior discussion via the co-parenting software. As we departed, Tom tentatively pushed forward towards Lily, retracting his hand. When do visits begin? Saturday, I indicated, pointing to our freshly assembled schedule. 2 o'clock, my folks home. Nodding, he hesitated. Olivia, I'm truly sorry about Vegas. About all this. Capturing his gaze for perhaps the first true follow-up since the hospital, I recognized the man I married still somewhere within, yet so too were countless warning signs ignored. I know you are. Yet apologies fall short. Lily requires action. Once home, I relaxed in our new apartment, while navigating a routine that was becoming increasingly familiar. I nursed Lily as I browsed through job listings on my laptop. My maternity leave wouldn't extend indefinitely, so planning ahead was essential. Fortunately, my savings were robust, a result of diligently setting aside money in a separate account ever since Tom's initial gambling binge. Achieving financial security through steady income was my goal. A message from Emma interrupted my thoughts, asking how things went. Using one hand, I replied that the outcome was better than expected. Tom had agreed to supervised visits and parenting classes. Proud of you, sis, she responded. I found myself sharing that sentiment, not because of Tom's cooperation, but because of my own resolve to advocate for Lily's needs and methodically rebuild our lives. Once Lily fell asleep, her tiny hand wrapped around my finger. I felt awe at how someone so small could inspire such strength in me. My phone buzzed with a notification from the co-parenting app, a sign that Tom had installed it, completed his profile, and signed up for parenting classes, sending proof through the app. Small but significant steps in the right direction. As dusk approached, I hummed while preparing dinner, surprised at the sound that signaled lightness I hadn't felt in a long time. The marinara sauce simmering away filled the air with warmth and comfort. I had invited Emma for dinner. A small celebration, not of our mediation success, but of a deeper certainty that I was equipped to handle whatever lay ahead. Lily chimed in with a cheerful gurgle, prompting me to smile and to assure her that we'd tackle life one day at a time. 3 months had transformed everything. Lily was growing rapidly, her personality blossoming day by day. While she shared Tom's smile, a reality I had come to terms with, her determination mirrored mine. Despite Tom's fluctuating enthusiasm, the supervised visits had progressed well enough for us to consider transitioning to unsupervised meetings. One day, while updating my resume in my favorite coffee shop with Lily napping close by, a familiar voice reached my ears. It was Mark Tremble, a former colleague from my marketing firm days before I had joined Tom's enterprise. He looked familiar with his kind eyes, salt and pepper hair, and reassuring smile. Mark, it's been how long? At least 3 years, right? He noticed Lily, his expression softening. And who's this little one? He inquired. This is Lily, I responded, adjusting her blanket. She's 3 months old. He admired her, then asked if he could join me. In need of a break and some advice, I welcomed his company and for the next hour, shared my story, my pregnancy, Vegas, the separation. Mark listened attentively, offering insights drawn from his own experience as a single father to teenage twins. By the way, he said, we're on the lookout for someone to lead our digital marketing division, someone with both creative and analytical expertise. My heart leaped at the mention of my pre-Tom specialty. Are you serious? I asked. Definitely. The hours are flexible, plus we now have an on-site daycare. He gave me his business card, leaving me to think over his offer. That evening, as Lily's bath time unfolded, my mind brimming with possibilities, the prospect of restarting my career on my terms thrilled me. A message from the co-parenting app interrupted my thoughts. Tom, once more, requesting a schedule change. I remembered Dr. Tremble's advice about maintaining boundaries. The 2 p.m. slot provides Lily consistency, I insisted. He quickly replied, prioritizing his important client meeting, to which I firmly responded, I'm not being difficult. I'm being apparent. It's 2 p.m. or another day. Eventually, he conceded. Once, I would have rearranged everything. Now, I understood the necessity of standing my ground. The next morning, I entrusted Lily to my mother's care and went for the interview at Mark's firm. The office had evolved, more open and modern, yet the energetic, creative atmosphere was familiar. The position is yours if you want it, Mark said after my successful presentation. We can be flexible with the start date, factoring in your childcare arrangements. I accepted on the spot, driving home feeling lighter than I had in months. I had regained a sense of direction, something that was entirely mine. My mother's embrace, upon hearing the news, was warm with pride. I'm so proud of you, sweetheart, she said, teary-eyed. That night, after putting Lily to bed, I sat on my small balcony with a glass of wine, my gaze drifting to the stars. A text from Emma invited me to lunch. She had someone for me to meet. I recognized her intent, introducing me to a single dad who was reportedly wonderful. Not ready for that step yet, I assured her to check back in a few months. Her reply, echoing pride in my understanding of what I needed, resonated deeply. And I knew, for the first time as an adult, what I truly wanted and deserved. With the future no longer a source of dread, but rather a canvas waiting to be filled, I heard Lily make a small sound in her sleep. I checked on her, seeing a blend of her father and me, but distinctly her own person emerging. Dream big, little one, I whispered. Mama's got your back. Returning to the balcony, I opened my laptop to work on a personal project, laying the groundwork for a blog centered on single motherhood, career transitions, and rebuilding after disruption. By sharing my journey, perhaps I could help others find their strength too. The night was calm, peaceful. Tomorrow promised new challenges, Tom's visit, daycare tours, work preparations, but I was ready. 3 months ago, I had watched my husband prepare for Vegas, terrified of solitude. Now I was different, stronger, wiser, and fully aware that being alone was infinitely preferable to being with someone who undermined your self-worth. With another sip of wine, I began writing, a narrative for any woman conditioned to accept less than she deserved. 6 months into my new role, as I finalized a digital marketing plan for a key client, my phone buzzed quietly, a message from the co-parenting app with Tom's name. Wrestling with familiar anxiety, I remained poised, determined to complete my presentation confidently. Excellent work, Olivia, Mark commended as the client departed, impressed with our tactical strategy. Only then did I check Tom's update. Lily had a fever. He had picked her up early from daycare. She was at his place. Heart racing, I read his thorough report. He had administered infant Tylenol, monitored her temperature, and even documented the process. Everything okay? Mark inquired, noticing my concern. Lily's feverish, I replied. Go, he urged, assuring me they could manage. The drive to Tom's new apartment was surprisingly quick. Upon arrival, I was taken aback by the transformed living space, a playpen, organized toys, even a framed photo of Lily. She's still sleeping, Tom murmured, leading me to the nursery he had meticulously prepared. Lily was nestled peacefully, her temperature dropping slightly, with her favorite stuffed bunny at her side, a toy I had assumed lost. Found in the car, Tom explained, aligning with the thought that it had fallen during the last handover. We're treated to the living room, maintaining the careful distance cultivated over months. He recounted his call to Dr. Morris, Lily's pediatrician, and outlined their fever management plan. Sitting alone with my thoughts, I grappled with unexpected emotions. This composed, diligent approach was a stark contrast to the Tom I once knew. It had been a year since I watched Tom leave for Vegas. A year since I faced giving birth alone and found the strength to reinvent my life. For months, Tom shifted his approach towards visiting Lily, showing genuine interest in her well-being. He read parenting books, attended her doctor's appointments, and even asked about her routines. I acknowledged his growth. Parenting classes, he confessed, enlightened him about things he had overlooked. When a small cry from Lily interrupted us, Tom let me take the lead, offering to prepare her bottle the way she liked it, a touch that would have seemed impossible months ago. As I rocked Lily, Tom hesitated before telling me he wished to continue the supervised visits, even though they were soon set to end. He wasn't ready to go it alone, he admitted, happy to be learning from my parents, bringing tears to my eyes. This was growth, focusing on our child's well-being, and I agreed to his suggestion. That evening, as Lily's fever subsided, I returned to my apartment to find a text from Tom. "Thanks for giving me a chance." I replied that Lily deserves a father who tries, and he's doing that. While working on my blog with an engaged group of single mothers, I wrote about how healing happens when we maintain boundaries, yet make room for change. A text from Mark interrupted. The client loved my presentation and promotion talks were next. Smiling, I considered how I'd evolved professionally, no longer dimming my achievements to fit into someone else's world. The next day was Lily's birthday at the park. She was a picture of joy in her high chair, smashing cake enthusiastically. All around us were friends and family, including Tom, who stood by with a washcloth. We both learned much this year. Tom stuck to supervised visits, joined a support group, attended therapy, and started volunteering. Once indifferent, he now taught other dads parenting skills. My promotion meant leading a talented team, and my blog grew, even gaining publisher interest for a book. Emma joined us with cake plates, recalling our transformed lives in a year. Tom and I cooperated as parents without being a couple, navigating disagreements maturely. When my father called for a speech, words flowed effortlessly. Holding Lily on my hip, I spoke of beginnings, love, and courage, more profound than ever expected. The party ended with a team gift of an engraved planner, a symbol of my journey and plans. A text from the publisher reignited the book possibility. Even as responsibilities loomed, I savored the present, whispering gratitude to my sleeping daughter and reflecting on the newfound strength our journey gave us. Watching the sunset, a year ago felt like a closed chapter. Now, as I tucked Lily to bed, a new book had begun.